Good enough. Good morning, good morning. Hot in here. Good morning, everybody. Sawadee Cup. Don't even think about it, Mr. Kitty. Hey, cat is not allowed in the studio. Hey, don't come in here. He knows better. The reason is because he likes to scratch at the walls, even though he's been neutered. He's just sitting at the front of the door. He does not dare come in. Don't you come in here. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Once again, Sawadee Cup. Here we are. I really have a couple of questions about something, and I know this is not specifically related to travel in Thailand and this sort of thing. Well, actually, it is. Um, so we'll get into that in a moment, but really don't understand that. We're going to talk about the importation of marijuana and how it applies to, especially in the one case, to this female basketball player, which for the life of me, I don't understand why they are making such a big deal about it and why she needs to be released. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We're also going to talk about, I guess we'll talk about the difference between the O and OA visa and what it takes to get the O visa, which some people believe is the better way to go. It's an easier way to go. Um, and for the most part, Thailand is not really all that difficult to stay in if you're older. If you're a little bit younger, well, that's a different story. So, anyway, let's see here. I didn't have a chance to see what the temperature is, but guess what? I know it's really hot. I can tell you it's going to be at least, the feel like temperature will be at least 100 degrees. Uh, how do I know that? Because that's what it is every single day. Right now it is 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Good chance of rain. High of 94, low of 79. Let's see, is there anything else I can tell you? It's going to rain all week. All the way through next week, it will be rainy. So we're in the midst of the rainy season here. 53% humidity, winds 8 miles an hour, and I think that's about it. Well, I was going to get to that, Bob. Allow me to proceed. But yes, you are right. It is a bit easier, and that whole 40,000 outpatient. I don't know. I find it a bit overkill, but I think that people that come to Thailand or who live in Thailand should at least have some kind of insurance. And I've been in the majority of the time that I've been in Thailand, I've been insured. However, there have been a couple of occasions when I wasn't. There have been occasions when I was on travel insurance, and there has been one or two occasions where I was in between insurance and I just went, well, I'm not going to pay until next month. And then the next month came and I went, well, let me wait one more month. No mask necessary. You know, in the mall, everybody is wearing their mask, and I also still, which, you know, legally you're supposed to, or recommended to. As of July 1st, I think it's a softer recommendation. However, I did see a couple of people walking around without masks, and I did see one person in the mall not wearing a mask. I don't know how they're going to implement all this because, I mean, what happens when you get into a taxi? You got to wear a mask? I guess. I really don't know. What? Oh, okay. All right. And you're the artist formerly known as LH, Longhorns. So, anyway, like I said, hot, rainy, rained yesterday, but I'm in the mall. I see very few people going without a mask. Hey there, Dre. You know, something that I saw just in reading what's going on in Thailand and what's going on around the world. And, you know, I try to do that as little as possible, but enough to stay in the loop. And I saw that there was a poll that was that came out that said that even with the new mandates, with the new lifting of the restrictions, I think it was 93.6, almost 94% of Thai people have said they are still going to use a mask after July 1st when they're outside, which I don't get that. I don't have to, but I won't be wearing one. And for the most part, I don't wear one now. And I won't wear one inside unless it's absolutely mandatory. And, you know, for the most part, unless you're standing next to someone, and this happens even when there is no pandemic. If you stand in an elevator next to somebody who's Thai, sometimes that person will move over. And it has nothing to do with me because it's happened to several of my friends where, you know, they get in and they just won't sit. They won't sit there on a sky train or something like that. If there's an open chair, some people will not sit with you. They will not sit next to you. This has nothing to do with the pandemic. Because you're a foreigner. Now, there are still people that will. I'm not saying that. So I don't really know that the whole mask mandate is going to make people make ties, you know, put ties off and have people, have foreigners coming in and everybody's going to be, stay away from me. I don't think it's going to happen any more than it happened before the pandemic. Aetna, formerly Bupa, said the 40% now. Yeah, I know about that, Patsy Bob, because I have Aetna. We have Aetna, and I am thinking about, and I just have not had a chance to do it, but I'm thinking about using another company in conjunction with them. But we'll see. Come on. Have you been pickpocketed? I never have been. Not once in almost 30 years have I been pickpocketed here. Not once. Now, maybe it's my charm and grace and good looks. I don't know. But I kind of doubt it. Okay? All right, so we were talking about this actually before. Yeah, well, never happened to me. It's anecdotal, obviously. However, I think a lot of people will come here and they won't have any problem at all. And I do think that, you need to watch yourself. Although Thailand is relatively safe, especially comparatively speaking, to other big cities, like Bangkok, for instance. Pattaya happens to be a place where there tends to be a bit of crime because people know all the tourists are going there. In Bangkok, it's, you could be in an area and there are absolutely no tourists. In my neck of the woods, very few tourists. There are some locals, some expats, but very few tourists. Well, again, you're in Pattaya, and this is one reason why I don't want to live where tourists live. I don't want to live in the heart of Phuket. I don't want to live in the heart of Pattaya. That's why. And when it comes to me, although I have had a couple of interactions with some of those people in the past, it was in like Sukhumvit Road late at night, and I basically, uh, did not want them to come anywhere near me because I knew what they were trying to do, and I was like, if you come near me, then let's, we're gonna go at it, and it's a bit dangerous, and this is the thing. For the most part, this place is very easy. It's a piece of cake here, getting by. But that doesn't mean you just need to walk around with your head up in the clouds or whatever it might be. And the razoring of the bottom of a bag is something that um, is done in Chatuchak Market. Now, I don't particularly understand how they can go ahead and get away with it because usually, if I got a bag, I got some heavy stuff in there, like a camera. And if they cut the bottom of the bag out, it's going to fall out, or the weight is going to drastically change immediately. So I don't really understand that. But, whatever. Be careful. You know, I would say be careful. So, my wife is still here. Nicholas is here. They have an errand to go run together. And then they're going to go out. Well, I guess we were going to go out and have breakfast, and I decided not to because I know my wife, and she will take forever. And before you get to breakfast, it's 12 o'clock. Yeah, that's the other thing, is to keep it to the front. Definitely don't carry it to the back. So that's something to remember when you go to Chatuchak Market or you go to some place. You're even sitting on a bot bus. Now, what I found funny is, the last time I was in Pattaya, and I talked about this a little bit. I was talking about how I was sitting on the bus, and there's a lady, an older woman, who was uh, talking to a Japanese guy, and she was putting the full press on him. She was full on trying to get the guy to take her. She was a hoe, but of course she masqueraded herself as a masseuse, and then she just flat out said to him, "How about I come to your hotel room?" And he got off and said, "Okay, bye." He didn't, but he was interested, but he didn't give into it. Then immediately she turned on me, and I was like, "Hey, honey," and I'm speaking to her in Thai. I'm like, "Hey, honey, I'm married. What do I want you for?" And she's like, "Oh, well, where's your wife? Bring your wife." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay. Where my wife is none of your business." This is the thing, and that's how you get out of that stuff. You don't allow them the in. Hey, where are you going? Why? You know, Usually you can tell if there's somebody who is a little on the shady side. I've been here 8 years and only two incidents, and those were by a crime team. Very safe. Well, I don't know how you say that if it's behind. I mean, if you're behind and you're sitting and it's on something, but if you're walking, you still feel the weight on your back. I don't know how to understand that. The bottom line is you do need to be careful here. Yes, for you tourists who are coming here, well, I mean, and the fact of the matter is, I'm getting older, you're getting older, we're all getting older every day, and at some point, you are a target because you're a little old man, and it's not like you're gonna bash them all, and that's the last resort. But usually, if you make a little bit of a stink, they want to stop that because they don't want to draw any attention to them, so they just will leave you alone. And so come at what was it, Soy 7. They used to hang out there late at night. I'm talking about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1, 2 o'clock. You know. And that's why you don't let them get in your space. And that's why personal space is important. But in Thailand, personal space is a bit different than in the West. All right, so let's move on from this. We all know that, where you are really doesn't matter. There are, oh, it's so safe there, until it's not. Until one time somebody robs you, somebody scams you, whatever. Generally, what I find is that here in Thailand, you are not confronted head on most of the time. Most of the time, as in what Bob was saying, they razored his bag so they didn't have to be confronted by him. They will try to, if they are going to do something, they being the scammer, it will be in a manner in which you may not even know that you're being scammed until they're gone. And that way they're not, or that you don't even see them. I'm not talking about like a jet ski scam, which for the most part I wouldn't rent a jet ski in Thailand if you paid me, So, be careful. Be careful out there. Now, seeing that the whole push for legalized ganja in Thailand has progressed, and we're now at a point where there are basically cafes and shops that are selling this stuff. It's in the news all the time. And one of the things that I have not understood from the very beginning is this Brittney Griner case. She's in Russia. I'll give you the layman's version, so to speak. She was in Russia and she had flew to, I forget the name, it was Shemenko or whatever. I had been to that airport once. And but she went there and they checked her bags and she had some vape pens with hash oil in them. Nowhere have I seen her denying that she had those. Nowhere. I have looked all over. I have not seen it. I have not seen any sign of her denying that she smokes pot. In fact, she openly admits it. Okay, there's nothing. Listen, fine. I'm not against it. I'm all for, choose what you want to do, choose what you want to use. No problem. I got no problem with that. The reasoning I don't understand is why everybody is fighting for her to be released from Russia when they have laws in place and marijuana is illegal in Russia. It's illegal in Russia. So why is she bringing the stuff inside of the country? So in my view, if she did indeed bring it, and whether she knew it was illegal or not is irrelevant. You are required to know the laws. And I saw something about another guy who said, oh, I was unaware that it was illegal. I was using it for my back pain. And okay. Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. The law is the law. She went in, she brought it, and now, because she's a basketball player, um, you know, she's supposed to get favorable treatment, special treatment. Oh, release her. Why? The laws are on the book. Oh, because she's being used as a pawn. How? Okay, she may be being used as a pawn, but the bottom line is, she's if she brought that stuff in and she receives a fair trial and it is found that she brought the stuff in, it's against the law. Whether she's a pawn or not, that's another thing. It's irrelevant. Is she guilty? Yes or no? If yes, then you did the crime, do the time. Okay, the pushing the court date back. I don't know the specifics of the. I don't know the specifics of Russian law. Now they may consider smuggling. I mean, it used to be that if you carried a couple of joints in one bag and a little bit of weed in another bag, because you were, like, oh, I'm gonna divide it up because I don't want to smoke that stuff. Then that was considered trafficking in some states in the United States. So the way to get around that is you carried everything in one bag and you didn't carry over a certain amount. But if you had divided it up, then you were basically going to sell the stuff. It was for sale, not just for personal use. And I don't know that that's the way that, I don't know that I think they just put that on there and it's a catch-all kind of a law. As far as her legally defending herself in Russia, well, how can a Russian who doesn't speak a word of English legally defend themselves in the United States? Can they? Yes. Can they in Russia? Yes. Doesn't mean that it'll happen. Doesn't mean it'll happen in America. There are people that don't get fair trials in the United States all the time. So you can't use that as a defense for her. Okay, but you can't use that as a defense for her. That's no defense for her bringing the stuff in. And I'm very clear on this because that in particular, pot is a drug. Hey, it may be legal in the United States in some states, but is it legal where I'm going? Or, hey, nobody's going to check me, man. Okay, I understand. But then, you can't cry about, oh my God, I'm not receiving fair treatment. Okay, if they extend it and extend it and extend it and extend it, and they don't have, I don't know what the rule is on the books about how long they can, how long, let me see here. How long let me see if I can find something here. And this is why I am trying to understand this, because I don't know all the specifics about this. Suspect must be, okay, all right, let me see here. So it says something here about rights are often overlooked. Well, we know that. Then why would you bring this stuff into the country? By law, authorities may arrest and hold a suspect arrested at the scene of a crime for up to 48 hours without court approval. Okay, but that's not... Police are required to release a detainee after 48 hours subject to bail unless a court decides at a hearing to prolong custody in response to a police motion. I'm going to say that they probably don't want to release her because they know she's going to try to leave the country. Now, I would say probably, considering the case, I don't know why they're holding her in jail. At the very least, they could do away with her passport and keep her in some kind of home detention or something. She's not allowed to leave her hotel without chaperones, but I don't know. I'm trying to find out here what the procedure is here. She's not getting a trial. Just keep delaying. Do you think it would be good for the same? In the U.S., a Russian would have been out of jail already. Okay, I understand that, but then why are you bringing drugs into Russia? If you know these things already, why are you bringing this stuff in there? I don't get it. Why? She could not have been that stupid. I'm sorry. I didn't even know who she was until this. So, you can say, oh, she's a high profile, basketball player. It's really good for the country if they would release her and blah, blah, blah. No, is that what you really want to see? You really want to see somebody who goes, oh, I'm going to flout the law and just go into the country? Would you do that in North Korea? No, you wouldn't. Let me tell you, Chuck wants me to go to North Korea. There ain't a chance in hell I would bring anything that could be construed as illegal into that country. Yeah, what you can say that, here's the thing. I don't know if they planted this stuff on her or not, but nowhere has she said, I didn't bring this stuff in. Nowhere in the media have I seen she was unaware she was carrying this stuff. No, she knew. She screwed up. I think some of you are taking it the wrong way, because I'm trying to get to all the facts. I understand it's Russia. My first go-to is, if it's illegal, you don't bring it in, period. End of story. Okay? That's the bottom line. And so, if indeed she is found guilty in a reasonable court trial, she deserves to do the time. I don't care who she plays for. If it was me, they would throw away the key. You wouldn't even hear about it. If it was you, you wouldn't even, nobody would even know. Now, would they be using her as a pawn? Of course. Just like China, just like Iran, just countries do this. You know what's going to happen. Then why would you bring the shit in? So this is what I mean. But many others in social media are saying let her rot because of her beliefs. Well, I don't know what her beliefs are. I don't know what her beliefs are. I got no idea. Other than she smokes weed and that she's a lesbian. And I don't care about those things. Those are no reason. Those are not reasons to lock her up. Bringing an illegal drug into a country, that's a different story. So if indeed she did do this, now maybe they have instructed her not to say a word, because anything that they find out could be used against her in court. Anything that they find out could be twisted or whatever. I don't know. And I'm not, on the side of Russia here. I want to make that clear. That's not what it is. I'm trying to figure out the reasoning behind people who are saying, oh my God, bring her home, bring her home. Okay, what I would say is, as an embassy, what their first priority is, and embassies don't generally help people much at all, aside from giving them some information and providing them with contacts. Now, I did see that she was trying to make a phone call to her wife, and they had it on the books for 2 weeks, and somehow no one was in the embassy, and she never got through. She wasn't able to call the wife. These are some of the things that happen when you do something stupid, like bring vape pens filled with hashish oil into a country that, like Russia. I've been to Russia twice. I wouldn't do a damn. Man, we were at a fight, and the guy I was with was complaining because he thought our fighter won, which I did think, and he was just moaning and groaning. He was upset. He was pissed off, and I was pissed off. And I told him, listen, you bitching and moaning, I told him right at the ring, you bitching and moaning is not going to change a thing. Shut your mouth. Let's get out of here. Let's get paid. Get out of here and get back home. That's what's important. It's not important now to fight it and do it. So her first priority is to get out of jail and try to get back home, obviously. However, seeing the current climate, they're going to drag their feet at every opportunity, which again, I come back to, if you are a professional basketball player or you're just Joe Schmo going in there, why would you bring something in there? It's like bringing, a bag of cocaine into Thailand. Why would you do that when you know they're going to throw the book at you? It's just stupid. Now, listen, the reality, she should get the minimum sentence or she should get deported with the promise that she would do time back in the U.S. and then she would never do anything, or they should give her a suspended sentence or something like that. I am not one for, I do not believe that throwing someone in jail is the way to deal with a person who had a couple of vape pens on them. To me, that's ridiculous. Make her pay, $5,000, $10,000. Make her pay a fine. But see, that doesn't serve their political purposes, their political needs. And that's something, again, that anytime you go to a country, listen, there's a reason why I don't really want to go to North Korea with Chuck. I think Chuck has got rose-tinted glasses everywhere he goes. He loves everybody. He likes everybody. I don't. And I don't trust people like governments because you don't know their motivations. They see you, they hear you, you've said something about them, the next thing you know, you're in jail. And you're like, well, wait a minute. So the same goes with her. They see some chick, she's 6'9". She stands out like a sore thumb. They probably knew she was coming. And if she had drugs in her bag, how are you going to get around that? You're not. Now, before we go any further here, do me a favor, because I have not got into this yet, but do me a favor and smash that like button, hit subscribe, go down in the description and check out all the different ways that you can help support the channel, like becoming a sponsor, using the CASHAPP, however it might be. Get some merch. Get yourself a t-shirt. An American in Bangkok t-shirt, or one of many other t-shirts, or hats, or tank tops, or whatever it might be. Go to anamericaninbangkok.com. All right. 2/4 Asian. If she wasn't famous, she'd probably be better off. Maybe, or she might be sitting in prison for the rest of her life. I gotta open my door. It's hot in here. I have no air conditioning in this room. Oh, that's better. Much better. So, I'm curious, how many think she should remain in jail? How many think they should get to her trial like ASAP? And how many think they should just let her go? 1, 2, or 3. You could put 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. I don't think they should just let her go. It's my own feeling. But I don't think they should keep her in jail. I think they just need to, come on, get her to court, get her out of there. There you go. So we agree. Let her go. Surprise, surprise. Why should they let her go? It's against the law. Why would they let her go? You can smoke in condos and apartments. Okay. Does that matter? Does that matter to me? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter to me. As far as, I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying, relating to her case, Russia does not care. They don't care about that. Well, nobody smokes in my house. We don't have smokers here. And it's very simple. So you go outside and you go outside and smoke. That's what you do. But it's illegal in Russia, Gennaro. It's illegal in Russia. Well, if they were, that's a good idea, Bob. And the reason is because she earns 5 times as much money in Russia as she does playing for the WNBA. So that would be a serious financial blow to her. And, you know, in one of the articles that I was reading, it was talking about how male basketball players make up to 200 times more than the best paid player in the WNBA. And I'm like, that's because no one gives a shit about women's basketball aside from a few people, really hardcore fans, just like in boxing. Guys who are great fighters don't always make the most money. You know. So, I mean, it's not about equality, it's about who brings in the most revenue. And, you know, let's face it, the NBA players bring in a hell of a lot more revenue than WNBA players. Well, I don't know. I don't think Jono smokes. Maybe once it's become legal, he may. I don't know. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Let's not get ridiculous here. Well, that's, you know, okay. So then why would you complain about not making as much money? I'm going to try to find this article. If I can. Now, well, there's that. Okay. Yeah, here we go. As Mrs. Griner's detention grinds on, some fans have been left incredulous by an apparent lack of attention for a world-class athlete in prison among sports media. Some have speculated the silence was intentional, an effort to avoid inflaming an already precarious situation amid negotiations with Russia. Much more ink has been devoted to male players, whether it's American football players, Tom Brady's on again, off again, retirement, Novak Djokovic's COVID saga in Australia, or Aaron Rodgers' vaccination status, then to Brittney Griner. That's because she did this shit to herself. Let's see here. This is not the right one. She could face up to 10 years in prison, which that's overstated, excessive. But they did put a guy named Mark Fogel, who had previously worked at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, and he was still in Moscow. However, he did not work at the embassy anymore. He was working as an English teacher, and he was in his 60s, and he had 17 grams, so not even an ounce, of weed in his luggage, and he was caught on August 15th, 2021 at Sheremetyevo Airport. He said he was using it for spinal surgery and was not aware of medical marijuana was illegal in Russia. I don't think that's a good excuse. Don't you think you should check? Aren't they giving you anything there? He pleaded guilty to smuggling, storing, transporting, manufacturing, and processing narcotic drugs. He's in a maximum security penal colony, and he got 14 years. So obviously they don't play around over there. They don't play. Now let me see here. I'm trying to find the yeah, they're not saying anything about the. Okay, I think this is it here. Well, maybe not. Now, I'm reading this Leafly.com article, and it's saying that she's not an exception, she's the rule for athletes using marijuana. Again, that has nothing to do with the bottom line here, which is she's committing a crime. And that's the thing. I'm not trying to be difficult about it, but the issue is that no matter what, they can just revert right back to that. It's illegal in our country. It's against the law. That's what they're going to say. All right, let me read this here. My pops is 6'9". He lifts his hands and he's already touching the rim. U.S. women's soccer team just got equal pay. WNBA doesn't make sense, but that's America. Never seen a women's soccer game or a women's basketball game in my life. That said, I've never seen the U.S. soccer team playing either or any of the teams. I've seen little clips on like ESPN and stuff, but that's it. Never watched a game. I have watched European football, South American football, that kind of stuff. Okay. Now let me try to find this article. Yeah, we already looked at that. Yeah, I mean this is a case that's all over the world, obviously. But it was too late. It was too late for Brittney Griner, who is believed to have entered Russia 1 week earlier on February 17th, though the timing remains unclear. Senate President Sniffer Dog had led authorities to search the carry-on luggage and was found vape cartridges containing hashish oil. They only confirmed her detention the third week of March. The lady closed. She was stopped at the airport in February. Okay. All right, here. This is the article right here. See if I can read this here. She's a decorated athlete. I mean, I give her that. Again, though, that's irrelevant to this. If this was an NBA player of her caliber, this would be on the cover of not only every sports page, but every news media page in the world. Tamron Spriel, a sports journalist who is writing a book on the WNBA and Miss Griner's contributions to the league. She's the best of the best. She's the Tom Brady of her sports. Her ability to dunk is unmatched. She flew to Russia to play for the EuroLeague, where she had worked since 2014 during the U.S. offseason. WNBA players receive roughly 5 times more in Russia than they do in the U.S. Her counterparts in the men's league make more than 200 times the maximum WNBA salary. So there you go. You know, but it's about earning power. And obviously, the WNBA, considering I've never watched a game, I've never seen any female games on TV here. It's not like, it's not like the Super Bowl where you can watch it here. I don't even know if you can watch it. I'm sure you can, but you got to look for it. That's my point. Now, I'm not the most avid sports fan anymore. But, I used to follow the NBA, and I followed the NBA recently a little bit in the finals and everything. So the disparity in pay, I don't really get that. But relating that back to here now, what happens if somebody brings something to Thailand? I would say, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about the days when I was in the Netherlands. And I went to the Bulldog in Amsterdam, and I went to a few other places. They were, pretty popular hangouts, coffee shops. And I thought, wow, what if they set up a Bulldog in Phuket or in Bangkok or something? You know what? They're not going to now. You know why? Because it's too dicey now. The laws are not established enough. You don't know. The next administration can say, that's it. You know what? We don't want this. We're doing away with it. So I don't think people are ready to invest in the industry here. What happens if somebody were to have brought in some weed into Thailand before it had become legal? They'd be in jail. And then they'd have to be released again because now it's legal. So I still don't understand why people are screaming. I would say she deserves to get to a trial as quickly as possible. And yes, they are probably stalling, using her. But that's irrelevant. Really, because this is what they're doing, and there's not really anything you can do about it because the U.S. government does not get involved in the laws of other countries. Remember that. What's this, Indonesia? Gennaro, why you keep retracting your messages? I don't know what you're saying. Um, if it was a small amount, they'd deport you and not make it international news. If it was a small amount, they'd make you pay money. In the old days, you'd be paying 100, 200,000 baht, something like that, and then they let you out. And they may not even deport you, but they tell you, don't do this again. Don't let us catch you again. And most people, at the end of their ordeal, they want to go home. They want to get out of Dodge. They don't want to continue to stay here. Well, I don't understand that, but whatever. You don't have to do that, Gennaro. It's up to you. Do whatever you want. Anyway, I find it, and here, remember that when I was younger, for probably 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, uh, I smoked almost every day. I did all kinds of stuff. I grew up in the days of the cocaine cowboys and in Quaaludes and stuff like that. And, there's part of me that is happy to see that weed has been legalized and it is becoming more the norm around the world. I don't think people should be thrown in jail because they're smoking a weed. I do now, as an older person, I do think about, okay, well, what effects will it have on society? You think about the positive effects, but what about any negative effects? I really would like to know. Okay, so none of this propaganda-filled, ridiculous nonsense that is spouted by the Thai government, but really straightforward, hardcore evidence that states emphatically it's more beneficial than it is harmful. I believe it is more beneficial, far more beneficial. But what are the negatives? I don't think it's a gateway drug. I don't think it makes you stupid. I don't think it makes you lazy. They contain THC under the amount of 0.2%. Apparently, that is what the deal is. Yeah, I mean, just like people can have the choice to use it or not use it. There's no reason why. This is the whole thing. The Netherlands has been tolerant of marijuana use and hash use for years. I think it's something like 45 years, something like that. That doesn't mean that everybody in the whole country is going into hash bars and token away. It's just not true. Let me see something here. Hi. Okay. I'm looking at the trends and patterns in cannabis use in the Netherlands. Of 443 local municipalities in the Netherlands, over 100 of them have at least one coffee shop. Now, the number of people who were surveyed here. Does it tell me how many people? It doesn't tell me how many. But what it says is the number of people in in the Netherlands, rather, that use marijuana or hashish daily is 1.7%. The number who have used in the past month is 4.9%. The number who have used in the past year, 7.8%. And 22.9% have said that they have at one point in their life used marijuana or cannabis, a cannabis edible. So that's not very many. So I don't think that the entire population is going to be passive and stoned and stupid. I just don't think that's going to happen. Let me see something here. Oh, God. Now we're going to talk about the specifics. Listen, you go outside and your lungs are going to suffer. Go outside in Bangkok. Your lungs are going to suffer. You know why? Pollution. So if you're smoking a little weed, if it makes you better, if it takes your pain away, if it takes you away from your shitty life, if it cures your depression or helps alleviate some of the symptoms of depression or whatever, I would say it's beneficial. And it's a social drug, just like drinking, and people don't generally crash their cars when they're drunk, rather when they're high, but they do when they're drunk. Now, as far as productivity goes, I can tell you because when I was still smoking on a regular basis, I would use it before I would go to the gym, to the boxing gym, or the kickboxing gym. And I would, a lot of times, if I was at home, I'd smoke a half a joint, I'd go out, I'd start jumping rope, and I'd jump rope for an hour. I'd turn on the tunes, and I'd just get into it, and I'd be like, now yeah, I'm stoned, but so what? Whatever helps you, to me, it seems like it would be better than a weightlifter using steroids. So you smoke a joint and you go in and you lift weights, and it helps you get over the pain threshold. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not somebody I'm not going to say everybody go out and toke away. I'm just not. I think you really need to do your research and figure out, is it something that I can incorporate into my lifestyle? If I lived on an island or on along the beach, and I suffered from intense pain and really didn't have much to do, and I would go for a walk, and then I would start to feel pain, but I wanted to not feel the pain for the rest of the day. Of course, if it's illegal, I'd sit there, I'd smoke away. I would want something that would help alleviate the pain. There you go, Gennaro. So, Gennaro, you are for. You're in the for camp, not the against camp. I take it and I know Dre, I know where he is. With a name like Dre, how are you gonna say you're not into it? But getting back to this whole subject, when I went to Russia, I tell you what, one time I went, and then I had to go back, and the reason that I went back is somebody else was going to go in my place. and they couldn't get in. There was some problem with the visa here. They needed to go back home in order to get their visa and get the visa from Russia in their home country. And they weren't willing. It was too expensive. It was too expensive for him to go, and it wasn't he wasn't really. It was just kind of like something that was going to be done. He was going to go because just so he could go. Instead, they put me in, and that was because I was able to go. I was living here, and I could prove that, and I was able to get my paperwork from the agency that we used to get into Russia. We had the promoter took care of had an agency take care of everything for us on both occasions. We had the same promoter, and he was very, very good. There was no problems, and for the most part, I loved my time there. I didn't have any problems, and I always say this, but generally the people the people are not always the problem. In some cases, but it's more the government and their policies, and that's what I have problems with. I don't particularly like what's going on with the Russian government, with the CCP. I don't particularly like what's going on with the idiots in the American government. But then, what does it matter at the end of the day? You know what you do? You're like water, baby. You find the path of least resistance, and you have the best life possible with what is out there. We're not back in the Stone Ages where we're drinking beer every day or ale every day, and if we had a little tiny cut, we might die. We're not in those days. You plan on getting much more experienced. Yes, that was a Bruce Lee statement from long ago. It's pretty hard to believe that it's been over 50 years since he died. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about this, because I also saw something about in Oregon, where their policy of decriminalizing all drugs has failed, and that there's a lot of homeless and people addicted to drugs in Oregon now, parts of Oregon, or a part of Oregon. I don't remember where it said it was. So, I don't think we're quite there yet. And I've said this also before, and that is, we like to think that we're civilized and we're progressive and we've got our act together, but the truth is, we don't with everything. We're a bunch of knuckleheads. Everybody's a knucklehead. When you got millions and millions of people and they all think a little bit differently, and you have to try to come to some consensus, it's not always easy. And if you look at, I look at the American government, and I don't see a government that works together. I see a government that it's all about, hey, you guys are the bad guys, we're the good guys. No, we're the good guys, you're the bad guys. Oh my God, this guy is stupid, this group is stupid. No, you're stupid. The fact of the matter is they're all stupid. They're all a bunch of idiots. Well, I agree, Interstellar Wolf. Welcome back. I agree with that. However, then now that brings us to the next point, which is they have held her for months. What's the holdup? No one seems to be able to say. So that's why they're saying, oh, she's a political pawn. Now what they need to do is let's take this case to court and to see what happens. My guess is she's going to have to do some time. They're not going to let her out. I don't think that they will, unless perhaps the United States government decides to release some political prisoners And yeah, in that sense, she is a pawn. But then guess what? She can be an innocent pawn, but she's not innocent of the crime that she committed. She's innocent when it comes to the uh, politically, with the political aspect of things. She's innocent. She didn't, she's just like, I'm going to Russia to make some money. Well, them Russian girls are tough, I mean, she probably don't give a shit. Well, okay, so then that's why I'm saying let's get her to the next point, which is get the trial, get it done. I'm sure that they have video. Now, what I read was that the video started and they showed her sitting there with somebody talking, and she's going, no, no, no. And the next thing you know, there's a mugshot. See, to us, we look at it as it's only, a little bit of weed. To the Russian government, they may not think that way. It's obvious. They put the guy in, that one guy in, he had under an ounce, just a little bit over a half an ounce. They put him in jail for 14 years. He's not a political pawn. They put him in for 14 years. You know. This is one thing that a lot of people, I've noticed this. And I think that, the fact that she's a political pawn, absolutely nothing to do with is she guilty or not. If she receives a trial and it's not a fair trial because she is a political pawn, that's a different story. However, if she was carrying that stuff, it's illegal. She's found, yes, we have video footage of it. We pulled it out of her bag. This is what she had. She's guilty. Boom. There is all this other stuff. She's a basketball player. She's black. She's a pawn. No, all that doesn't matter. She's guilty. Well, there you go, Dre. There you go. I mean, at this point, I have shown my kids the movie Midnight Express. I have shown my wife the movie Midnight Express. And I said, if you ever start to think, if you're in some position and you think, oh, it might be a great idea to do this, remember this movie. Now, the other thing that, concerns me a little bit is if they don't have video footage, well, who says that it wasn't just planted? And that is a very real possibility. But I don't think it is what actually happened. Retracting every freaking message. If the message is good enough to put up, it should be good enough to keep up, Gennaro. Yeah, I don't know, because, I would never, I would not even think about that. Cannabis in Indonesia is illegal. Strictly illegal. Drug offenders are subject to a minimum sentence of 4 years in prison. Additional fines may apply. That's for possession. Derivatives of medical and recreational cannabis, such as hemp, CBD, tetrahydrocannabinol, hashish, and edibles, are also illegal. Cannabis has been used as far back as the 10th century in Java and Aceh. In 1927, the drug was banned by the Dutch colonial government. Cannabis is currently the most widely used illicit substance in Indonesia, with approximately 2 million users in 2014. One thing that I find, hang on a second, interesting is the use of heroin and opium and cocaine um, in the early 20th century and late 19th century in the United States and elsewhere. When people would go into an opium den on the outskirts of the city, and they can just go there and they can smoke to their heart's content. As long as they had the money, they can go in there and smoke. And then that got canned. You know. Yeah, well, it's that whole thing, Dada is death, which is Malaysian. Dada is death. Use drugs in Malaysia and you die. If you've ever seen that movie, I think it was called Return to Paradise. It's an early movie with Vince Vaughn and Joaquin Phoenix, and I don't remember who else. Anne Hesh. Great movie. A good movie. Really interesting movie. Basically about a guy who I'll give you I'll try not to give you the spoiler, but I'll give you a little bit of information about the movie. They went to Malaysia, and it kind of reminded me of coming to Thailand. You go, oh, I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to go hang out. They're at the beach. They all got girls. They're laying there in their hammocks, having a great time. They're getting stoned, laughing and giggling with their girls. And so it's time for, I think, two of them to go back. And they had rented bicycles. And one, or a bicycle where all of them were on the bike. I believe that's what it was. It was, a little junky bicycle. The chain came off or something happened, and they just kind of dropped the thing, threw it down the side of a hill. Went back to their bungalow, and then the two of them left. They say goodbye. It turns out they had a bunch of hash. So one of the guys just throws the hash out in the garbage. Now the police come. They come because the owner of the bicycle wanted to know where his bicycle was. And the guy who's left is like, oh, well, somehow they find the hash in the garbage, and this guy is scheduled to be put to death. However, if I remember correctly, the way that it worked was, if one of them came back, they would both do life in prison, but they would not be put to death. And so they had to get one guy to come back, and that was the whole thing. Can you get this guy to come back? And what if he does come back? Are they going to adhere to are they going to keep their promise? I mean, it's nothing to joke around with. I mean, you might think it is, and it's. I kind of like I push myself away from it now. I don't want nothing to do with it. Because if you don't have anything to do with it, the chance of anything happening to you with the government, like in Russia, believe me, I went into Russia, I was like, I don't even want to bring a vitamin in here, man. Same thing if I went to North Korea. You think I'm going to be bringing in some pain pills or anything like that? No way. I think they put this one. Okay. All right. So, anyway. We've droned on long enough. I think we all know, I think most people who are in the age bracket watching this stream are aware that, the whole drugs issue is something that you have to be very careful with, especially if you're traveling to a foreign country. weed is still illegal according to the federal government in the United States. How does that work together with the states and everything? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day. Maybe it will be a problem. Maybe the federal government will wise up and go, hey, maybe we should be collecting tax on this stuff. I don't know. I got no idea. Yeah, just take my Bible to. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing, and I kind of think that in the case of Chuck, like I said, I think sometimes he has rose-tinted glasses, and I don't think he really ponders that things can go bad very quickly. And I don't believe they are particularly fond of gays in North Korea. However, he says, oh, I saw all kinds of gay people. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't matter. All it takes is the wrong person to go, I don't like this guy, I know he's gay. Or you to be, now Chuck has said, I would never do anything with anybody here. But, you get involved in some love affair, now that's a different story. Depends on what the medicine is. It depends on if he has a prescription, if he can prove it, the quantity. If you've got, 800 Viagra and you're coming into the country and you've got a prescription for them, the government might go, why do you have so many? You come in with a bottle of 40 or something like that and you got a prescription, and the prescription does not supersede the law. No. However, in the case of small quantities of prescription medication, they may just allow you to go through. That's what I know. What is that? I thought it was my computer. I'm talking about an ordinary traveler. Generally, if it's illegal in Thailand, it's illegal no matter whether you have a prescription or not. Normally what they say is if you're bringing in enough for a 1 month use, you should be okay. It really does depend on the medication though. Yes, a small prescription. So if you have some kind of if you have some medication, if you're taking medication that is not legal here, and you absolutely need it, then you better find something else that you can get here, or you can, legally use here, whatever it might be. And it's funny because, like if you went with your prescription of oxycodone, well, that's highly illegal. If you went with 10 tablets and you had a prescription with it, they probably would not do anything. In fact, from what I've found is I've had vitamins and pain medication, aspirin, all kinds of stuff I brought through, including Xanax, in very, very small quantities. The Xanax, I think I had 2 or 3 tablets, that was it. And I put them they were all together in a bottle. They opened my bag. I've been checked like twice in all the times that I've been here. They've opened my bags up. They open the bag up. They look inside. They look inside my, my toiletries bag. There's a little, what do you call it? Little bottle. It's got some vitamins in it. It's got some aspirin in it. It's got some of this, some of that. Oh, boom. They put it away. That was it. They didn't care. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't do anything. I know that people get arrested, like bringing in large quantities of Viagra and, all kinds of stuff like that you would think, that's not such a big deal. They sell it in the pharmacies. You get stuff over the counter here. But, that doesn't mean that it's okay. Here's my prescription for all you out there. When in doubt, just don't bring it. And if you know there might be a problem, definitely don't bring it. You could say maybe I'm being overly cautious, but what do you want to do? You want to be overly cautious, or do you want to come in here and end up, having to pay a bundle of money, or, sitting in jail for a while? And you don't want to be in a prison here. Forget about it. Listen, I've been in Thai prisons like 3 or 4 times. I'm trying to remember how many. I was in a woman's prison 3 times. 4 times. Twice for fights. Twice to go in and do an article or articles about particular fighters. I've been in men's prisons, a men's prison twice. And what I remember is walking around, and I started talking to some guy, and then the next thing I know, I go, wait a minute, you're a prisoner? And the guy's like, yeah, I'm a trustee. I didn't even know he was a prisoner. But you don't want to be in there. Period. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it's not that bad. I don't care. You really want to go? Go ahead. Have at it. Whatever. Makes no difference to me. I don't want to go there, which is what's important. I don't want to go there. Most of my friends, I don't see them saying, yeah, I want to go. Which is, I think that something that people are forgetting is that to the government's credit here, they let out something like 3,000 people who were charged with possession of marijuana, using weed. And people have been tested in the past in nightclubs and stuff like that. And if you test positive, boom, you go to jail, man. Now, what they're really looking for is the yaba, the speed. What's so funny is that the government, like in the United States and in Germany and various other countries, they were the ones who started manufacturing speed in the old days to be used during war. But anyway, getting back to the whole Brittney Griner, the one thing that strikes me as very different now from how things used to be is the fact that they are just the people expect her to be released. Let her out. Bring her home. Nobody is saying she's guilty. I don't see that anywhere. I don't see people going, oh, she's guilty. She needs to do the time. I don't see people coming out that are saying that. But all the people who want her to come home, she's been in detention for nearly 3 months. On May 15th, it was reported that the United States and Russia would consider a prisoner swap, with Russia exchanging Griner for arms dealer Victor Bout. This is the guy who was, what was the name of that movie? I think it was with, like, Nicolas Cage, or maybe it was, what's his name? Merchant of Death. He was nicknamed the Merchant of Death. What was the movie? I don't remember. Let's see here. Lord of War. Nicolas Cage, thank you. Yes, it was Nicolas Cage. I did know what I was talking about. Came in with 1 box of Claritin D. Customs confiscated during bag search. Cannot sue ephedrine. Bummed with whole 10 days with, but happy not got into trouble. Yeah, well, with the ephedrine here, they use that to make the speed. That's one of the ingredients. Go up into the Golden Triangle. Go up into that region. Once you get up into the hills, and you got to be careful up there too. You got to be careful of all kinds of things because you don't know where you're going, what you're getting into. You don't know if Uh, there are people out there who still have the opium fields, and you're coming up to an opium field. That was something that I went with a friend of mine a long time ago, and he was like, "We can't go in this direction." I was like, "Why not?" And he goes, "Because over there is the opium fields. We go anywhere near there, and all of a sudden people are going to come out with machine guns." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to go that way. I think I'll stay away from there." You know. Anyway, this is not something really. There is. I mean, I feel for the lady to a point. Yeah, I mean, this is the other thing. I remember hearing about that in the United States, and how, like, anything over a certain number of boxes is, like they won't allow it. You can't even buy more than, I don't know what the number is. I thought it was 5 or something, but the problem with drug use is not that it hurts the person. That obviously is a problem. The big problem is if they hurt other people, whether physically, whether through theft or whatever it might be. And the fact of the matter is that some drugs wreck lives. You know. I can only buy 15 Claritin D pills with pseudo at a time. Yeah, I don't know what the law is over there. I don't know what it is here. I have no idea. Um, I'm just not, I don't, life is hard enough. Life is hard enough without me worrying about doing something that's blatantly illegal related to drugs. With Claritin and stuff like that, I understand why they do it. It's because what they do is they got people that are paying people to go and round up as much as they can, and then they use the stuff in the pills to make the yaba or to make speed or whatever, meth, crystal meth or whatever the hell it is. And that's some bad shit, man. You know. Considering how I was when I was young, which was, I never got that out of hand to where it affected other people, like where I would harm anybody or, anything like that. If anything, it was, drugs were something, just a little, it was something to do. Now I got enough stuff to do. You know, once you have kids, I think everything changes. You know, you're always going to have something to do because they got something to do. And guess what? Until they're 100% capable of doing things on their own, you're going to have to help them. So let me see if there's anything else here with relations, with regards to her. Let's see here. The only objective problem has turned out to be the basketball player's height. Okay, I don't understand what that has to do with her being tried. On March 23rd, I have been able to visit Griner in detention, reporting she was in good condition. I don't think that they are going to beat the holy hell out of her or anything like that. I would be very surprised if she came out and said, "Oh, my treatment was horrible." I don't think they're that stupid. I don't think they want to do that. So, she was supposed to have a trial on June 18th. Pretrial detention. They extended her pretrial detention to June 18th. On May 13th, it was reported that her pretrial detention would be extended again by 1 month. She'd been in detention for nearly 3 months. Okay. Her wife said she heard from the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, stating, "I was grateful for the call. You say she's top priority, but I want to see it. And I feel like to see it would be me seeing her on U.S. soil. Again, no, that's not what believing in what the guy says when he says. I don't get this. They have this mentality that they are deserving of her to come home. No, they're not. She does not deserve anything aside from being tried and getting a fair trial. That I agree with. She doesn't deserve to come home. Why? Why should she come home? What about the guy that's in jail for 14 years? Dowlow, what's going on? Not really. Same, but different. Now, there was something that Mr. Moderator wanted to discuss that we had discussed already pretty much. And that was the difference between the O and the OA visa. And the OA visa is the one that is received outside of the country, obtained outside of Thailand, and that you need 40,000 as outpatient insurance and 400,000 inpatient. The O visa is generally obtained inside of Thailand. And I say generally because there is the chance that you can get an O visa as a volunteer outside of the country, although I heard that has been stopped. I don't really know. You know, you never know with this stuff, which is why, for the most part, I try not to think about every little change and, oh, this is how it is now, this is how it is, you know, in 1 week. And I want to see it. I want to hear it. I want to hear some cases of this is what happened, this is how things are done now. If you go to, let's see if I can find it here. I had it up. Here we go. This is the Thai e-visa, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ordinary passport holder wishing to stay with a family. Okay. No, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the one with without a family. Medical treatment, extension of stay. See, this doesn't tell me anything. All right, this is the D.C., Washington, D.C. website information that I have. Tallow, how you doing? What's going on? Where are you? What's the latest? Do we have a latest? You know, Tallow, I thought you were down there somewhere around Chattahoochee. You can always go and check things out with the what do you call it? The Highland Cafe. Isn't all I thought, isn't that ADD? Attention deficit syndrome? Well, yeah, whatever it might be. I can't discuss here that others have done. Okay, so it says, the purpose of the visa category O, applicants who wish to stay with the Thai family. That's what's on their website. And then they have for volunteering, and that's it. They don't have you just want to come for retirement. They're going to give you the OA. Copy of flight. Okay, so, and this is what I believe the guy Tom was doing in the past. he would show a copy of his recent bank statement with $700 in it, and that would suffice for them to get for him to get his visa. So it was much easier for him because he would go back to the United States and do it that way. Insurance is going up to 100,000. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And, when I see it, I'll believe it. That's pretty much how it works. Oh, did you have some of his paella? Good to know he's back. I'm going to have to go there one of these days. I've been there so many times. I mean, I've streamed there probably half a dozen times. And I've probably made a couple of videos from there. And I've been there at least a dozen more times where I haven't done anything. A dozen or two over the years. So I'm not the biggest fan of CASHAPP most of the time, because anything you get there you can get elsewhere pretty much, aside from some paella. Although you never know, you might be able to get it somewhere. I don't know. I haven't really looked, but I know for a fact that his paella is very good. I prefer his to the other paella. It was very, very good. It is easy to get lost there, although you do start to learn after a while which way to go, and look for the clock tower, look for this, look for that, and then you start to realize where you are. But even when there weren't many people, it's so freaking hot, and there are many, many people, and sometimes it's difficult to get out of there. I'm not talking about if you're going on a subway, very easy. Yeah, he has this paella, which is, his stuff is very good. That stuff is fantastic. But, now the way I look at it is, if there's something that I know is there, or my wife, sometimes she gets dishes from there. She'll go out and buy some glasses or whatever it might be. And what she does is she knows exactly where everything is. You go there, you get them to drop you off close by. You get your stuff, and you leave. You get out. And hopefully you do that early enough where they're just opening up, and there's not that many people there. You get out, and then the place fills up, and you're long gone. That's how I like to do it. That's how my wife does it. Once in a while, she'll go, oh, I want to go see if I can get a couple of things from there, and let's go shopping, and I'll be like, take Nicholas, take Alex, I don't want to go. Once in a great while, I will go with her. But I don't like being around all the people, and it's too damn hot. It is hot there. Right, Dello? It's extremely hot. And yes, there are some discounts there, but there are a lot of places where they're not doing you any favors. But it's a place to go, look around a little bit. If you're coming to Thailand, you haven't spent much time in Thailand in a few years, Gennaro. For some of the other people who might be watching, go to CASHAPP at least once. Go to Pattaya at least once. Take a tuk-tuk once. Go on the SkyTrain. Go on the boats. There are things, I need to make a list up of things I think everybody needs to do at least once when they're in Thailand. Come to the Mall Bangkapi at least once. Speaking of the Mall Bangkapi, and speaking of the SkyTrain and the subway and all that other kind of stuff, I did say the other day that the plan in Bangkok is to connect all the different methods of transportation together. And some of them are already connected up. The boat and the SkyTrain and the subway and that kind of stuff. But they really are planning on making it much better. In front of the Mall Bancapi, they have completed the railway system on the top now. They have dropped down the, I don't know what it's called, the centerpiece for where the monorail is going to go. They basically are done with that. They need to get the little platform where everybody walks to go up to the SkyTrain. They need to finish all that area, and that's supposed to be done by the end of this year, early part of next year, which is great. However, if we're not here, I don't know how great it is. It's good for everybody else, but will it be good for me? I don't know. It really depends on if we ever get out of here, when we get out of here, where we are. I don't know why I would come back to this area if I don't have a reason to come back. For all I know, we'll keep this place and find someplace else to live. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. Our local BTS takes you directly to Mochit Station. Shore Beach driving in Bangkok. Yes. For the most part, it's great. A massage. Massage, yeah, that's always good. Sarni's. I like the one down by the river better than the one that is across from Central. But it's a bit far. Even if I was taking the SkyTrain and whatever else I'd have to take to get there. Sometimes it's just better to take a taxi. You just change your frame of mind and you say, I'm going to jump in the taxi, I'm going to relax, there's going to be traffic, it's going to take me an hour and 15 minutes to get there, whatever it might be, and you deal with it. Yeah, okay, that's another thing. Go to Icon Siam once. Or go somewhere else. Go somewhere like, M. Courtier. Go there once. Go to Paragon once. Go at least one of these places. Go once. Go to Pratunam. Go once. There are certain things. Go watch some Thai boxing once. I like the one by the river better than I think it's Ton Son, isn't it? Ton Son. The thing about the one by where we were going all the time is that it's a bit small. And, we went to that other one, it was completely empty, and it's very nice. The decor is better, I think. And it does look a bit bigger, but it's just a bit farther, That's what I mean. It's far. Do you really want to go and journey all that way out there? I don't. This is the problem, with me where I am now. It's not that far out, but it's far enough to where if I'm going to go somewhere, I really need to think about it. I don't want to go all the way to Paragon. I mean, it means either I'm taking a taxi and I'm going to sit in traffic for an hour and a half, or it means I'm going to take a boat and then I'm going to transfer and take a motorcycle, or I'm going to take a taxi. First I'm going to take a Songtao, or I'm going to take a motorbike to the boat, then I'm going to take the boat, then I'm going to get off, then I'm going to have to take another motorcycle, or I'm going to have to walk to here and then maybe take a motorcycle, or, So you got to prepare yourself, and I don't know, I haven't had to, run out early in the morning because, I've got to get there. In 20 years, I haven't had to do that. Once in a great while, I have to go somewhere. I've got to go do this. I've got to go, especially with photography, when I had to go out early, like really early in the morning, and also when working in boxing, there were times I had to go out. But for the most part, I didn't have to worry about it. Walked to MRT and took that to Sarnies. Yeah, I mean, it's BTS. BTS is the SkyTrain. MRT is the subway. However, MRT is the one, and I've been saying this, MRT is in control of the monorail system. By the end of next year, Bangkok's SkyTrain, subway, boat system, it should make it one of the best cities to get around, the easiest city to get around without a vehicle. It should be one of the best places in the world. That's something fantastic for a place to live. However, and I've said this, obviously numerous times. Those people who've been watching for a while, they know. There is something to be said about you walk outside and all you hear is noise and horns and you see concrete everywhere and there's people everywhere and you just can't get away from them. And I know, it might sound like I'm whinging about it. I'm not really. I'm just stating something that I believe to be fact, which is if you're in the city all the time. And now, if you love the city and you can't even fathom living some other way, well, then good for you. But I can. And, my wife has to go to the south for one day. To take care of something, and she's leaving for one day, and she'll be back, and then we're going to go back down. Well, she'll find out when she goes down there. She'll find out exactly when we need to go back. And we're looking into some things, but I don't know, exactly what it means long term to us. But I do like going down there every so often because it is a complete getaway from the city. The land where we were on, her mother's old place, is far away from the big city and the concrete jungle like Bangkok. Far away. Much, much different. And sometimes it's fantastic. And sometimes I wake up and I go, oh man. Like the one day I wanted to get to a coffee shop and I'm like, so what? I can have the coffee that, I didn't have my espresso maker with me. And, well, didn't I tell you, Dowlow? Driving in Bangkok is not something I want to do for a number of reasons. Out on some little island or some little village or, like a coastal village or something like that, I can see getting a little motorbike or even having a car and you just drive around a little bit. You learn the area. It's not a big deal. There's not much traffic. There's not many people out. It's easy to drive. But when you're in the they got construction going on. It's like there's one place here in Bankabi. I know for quite some time it was an overpass. They just broke the overpass off. You could be hauling ass. I remember driving around with my buddy, and he'd just be hauling ass around. He's got it on autopilot, and we're talking. And if you didn't have your eyes open, all of a sudden you're at the end of the highway, and if you keep going, you're going to drive right off the end of it because there's so much construction going on. I did tell you. Yes. I wouldn't drive in Bangkok if someone said, you want to drive my Ferrari, because, man, I'd be tempted. I don't know, man. I wouldn't. I don't know, the way that Thailand is and the way that the driving and the roads are. I don't know. I could think about better places to drive a Ferrari. Little motorbike, that's one thing. And they're dangerous too. Most of the deaths that occur in Thailand occur with people on motorbikes. Well, there are some problems with the pedestrian crossings. You got to be very careful when you go across. And my wife has yelled at me more than once about, just because there's the zebra crossing doesn't mean you can just walk across, even if it's a red light. Usually people take that for granted. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to all this now. I mean, I after a while, it's just you just here. You're living. You kind of know. Oh well, maybe I can walk. Let me start walking. Oh! Here comes a car. It's a red light. Why is this car coming by? Because this is Thailand. If you played Frogger, yeah. If you're George Costanza. Or you might get smashed like his little Frogger game got smashed. Or I think it was Frogger that got smashed. I'm trying to look here at, yes, like George. I I have occasionally thought about other places to live, and the chance of me living somewhere else, maybe in the future it's possible. It would depend on my family, my kids, what they're doing. Depend on the wife, it would depend on a lot of things. Because I'm not going to leave her to go live somewhere else, and I don't believe she wants to leave me and go live somewhere else without the family. But I think as you get older, it becomes more important that the place you live has the things that you really want in a place to live. And that's the thing about Thailand. That is still the thing about Thailand. All right, if you come into the big city or a big city, it's very easy to get around without a vehicle. Even if you're out in a village, if you want to get around, as long as you got some cash, you can get around. Not a problem. Still trying to buy some hooch? You mean some herb? Look up Highland Cafe. You should be able to go and get some there, Dallo. Not that I'm promoting the use of that particular substance. You do what you want. Anyway, don't forget to smash the like button. Where are we at for time here? Oh, wow. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to hit that join button. Help me get to 50 by the end of the year. 50 members of my channel. Right now, I think we're at 38 now. I think we lost somebody the other day, unfortunately. Or you can become a Patreon patron, or you can become a member of my website. Just go to AmericanInBangkok.com. You can get some merch there. You can do whatever. You can make a contribution through PayPal, the CASHAPP. Man, I love that CASHAPP, but I don't know why not as many people seem to be using PayPal or the CASHAPP as in the past. And I don't mean that as in, I'm getting paid by that particular method. I mean, that, yeah, of course I'm talking about that. But in general, I don't use it nearly as much as I used to, say, 10 years ago. PayPal was the premier payment service back then. Don't use it much anymore. Now it's a little bit different the way things are set up. And I have a card for my merch. So when people pay for my products, the money just goes onto my card. I just use my card. I can use it like that. Or if I really want, I can transfer it to a bank. I mean, that's another thing. That is a positive of the world right now. Everything is not necessarily cash. You're not waiting weeks to get a transfer. Things are immediate. And that's something that I find very useful. Ever think about taking up fishing in Thailand? You're talking about me? I have fished here several occasions. Um, I have fished here, and I guess it depends on where I am. If I'm sitting here in Bangkok, I probably won't be doing much fishing. And I have looked into living in Samui, and I just don't know that that would fit my bill simply because the number of tourists. I don't want to be around thousands of tourists. And I don't think my wife wants to be either. I think the words that would come out of my wife's mouth would be, "Holy shit, I didn't know." Never give your PIN, even if stuck in a ATM. Oh, yeah, George, right. He didn't want to give that PIN number out for anything. And the thing is, he probably didn't have more than $100 in the account. Yeah, I'm probably going to go to that Highland Cafe at some point this week, next week. I don't know. Soon. I do want to go there to go check it out. And I don't know if it's going to be possible for me to take a few selfies or a little bit of video, do something like that. I don't know. I'll find out. I'll find out when I go. You know, see what they got to offer there. I'm curious. I've heard that there are in various shops that there are indeed edibles. Now I don't know if they've got it figured out to where it's at the exact percentage that is legal here. Or I don't really know what the deal is, because I'm not really into that whole scene anymore, and I haven't been for quite some time. I'm an old man, for God's sake. What do you want from me? What do I know? I'm a lot older than you might think I am. What you guys don't know is I've been lying about my age all these years. I'm actually 70. I'm not 60. Contrary to popular opinion, one more thing about weed. Now, this is in the Netherlands. Soft drugs such as cannabis are not legal in the Netherlands. Strictly speaking, the selling, use, and possession of cannabis are illegal and users are subject to prosecution. However, the police in the Netherlands adopt a policy of tolerance towards recreational users. As such, individuals can carry up to 5 grams of cannabis, which they are able to buy from specified retailers known as coffee shops. These coffee shops must abide by strict regulations. For instance, they may hold only 500 grams of cannabis at any time. Coffee shops are not only found in Amsterdam, but all over the Netherlands. I know that. I remember that. It's been about how many years since I've been? Well, it might be like 7, 8 years since I've been in the Netherlands. And it was freezing when I went the last time. It was absolutely... What I remember is going for walks and taking some photos, and it would be 30 minutes, and I'd be like, I'm freezing. And I was all bundled up. It'd take me another 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to find a place. I'd go in and get a hot cocoa. I'd go back out, go walking around. And I drank a lot of cocoa when I was there. Let's see here. What else does it say? Cannabis use has increased there. Let me see. I thought I had the information there. Most probably, cannabis use among youth in the Netherlands so far evolved in 2 waves, with the first peak around 1970. Okay, so American culture maybe prompted that in the 60s, and then it made its way to the Netherlands. A low during the late 70s and early 1980s, and a second peak in the mid-1990s. The number of adolescent cannabis users peaked when the cannabis was distributed through an underground market, late 1960s and early 1970s. Then the number decreased as house dealers were superseding the underground market, and went up again after coffee shops took over the sale of cannabis in the 80s and slightly I heard what I heard was that even bringing, and I don't know how true this is, but even bringing the herb into the cannabis shops, technically it's illegal to bring that into the cannabis shop to be used to sell. Once it's in there, then it has to be under 500 grams, which I don't know how they get around that. If they have a place where they keep, like a safe house, something like that, What's the name of that place, Dallo? And are they selling the goods there? That's the important. That's what is most important to somebody like you, because I think it was Fire Dude. He sent me a menu from the Highland Cafe, and it wasn't dirt cheap. I mean, the prices were not extremely low, but they weren't extremely high either. Weed God. God weed instead of God rap. That's pretty funny. Your place doesn't seem to open until 4:30, 5 o'clock there, Dallo. Well, this one is just this one's like a drink place. This is not really the kind of place that you were looking for. The one that I'm looking at doesn't say anything about that. This one might be Bunkum, which is close to me actually. Can't see, damn it. Praxa. Praxa or Pruxa? Or is it Prasert? Prasert Manukic. There's a lot of chill or chill out, chill cafe, chill coffee, chill restaurant, chill milk coffee. Chill Cannabis Cafe, Samut Pakan. That's the one I'm looking at now. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. So now maybe what's going to happen, I don't know. I would say that if there's one thing that could get people to stop thinking only about Thai women, and that would be the ability to come into Thailand and stock up on weed and smoke weed. That's not going to get them to forget about the women or not want the women, but it may slow their roll a little bit, so to speak. And maybe it'll help them think a little bit more clearly. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. There won't be any more. Oh, this place has been around for a long time. Let's see here. I want to look at the. Okay, this place, I don't know, the place I'm looking at looks like they got cannabis cookies. They got all kinds of stuff here. I don't know. Well, have at it, pal. That's the one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would, check it out. Let me know. Let us know. Let the people know. Because I see like these large leaves and I see like cannabis cookies, cannabis, looks like muffins. They've got like banana bread or something. I don't know. Banana coconut bread with cannabis. They got all kinds of stuff. Anyway. Has anyone you know bought ganja this past week, and was it strong or weak high? I think Fire Dude, I think he did, and I think he didn't have any problems with it. Uh, I'm going to say that if they're selling it and they're selling it at the prices they're selling it at, it is not weak. I mean, they're selling full on buds and stuff like that. I don't believe it's going to be like, well, man, I didn't even get a high off this shit, man. This is some dirt weed. I don't know if that's going to happen. I cannot imagine that being the case. Let's remember that at one point, Thai stick was a premium weed. Hmm. But I have been in touch with a few people, and they're not in a big hurry to go out because they are people who I don't know. I guess they just use sporadically. They're not the sort to just run out. Oh, now it's legal. I'm going to run out and go buy myself a joint. Most people are not like that I know, at least. You know. Most of the people I know now are like, I smoked before, I don't want to smoke anymore. It doesn't do anything for me. Or, oh, okay, well, I'll have to go check that out. But they're not running out to see it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not part of that whole scene. I don't really, I'm not involved with that now anymore. And nor do I really want to be. Well, when I had it was in Florida, and I don't remember what it was that was around it, but it might have been fishing line. But I do remember indulging in it. But that was a long time ago. That was a long, long time ago. Okay. So, I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. I've been talking about how I need a what do you call it? A gimbal. And I was thinking maybe this week I'll get myself one. And then I was thinking to myself, if I'm gonna get a gimbal, why not just get a GoPro? It's a little bit more money, but why not just get one of those? That would help. Instead of using my phone as a camera, or my other camera, having to lug that around, I've actually been thinking maybe the GoPro was the way to go. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see. So, weed smokers continue to rejoice. They have not repealed any laws or anything like that, but I do want to see what happens in the near future and to see if anything changes. I did see something about that if you are worried about the monkeypox, this is actually what the Thai government has released. If I can find it here. The Thai government actually said if you are worried about the monkeypox, I think people are sick of hearing about all these things. They recommend the CDC. I'm going to assume that this is the CDC of Thailand, has updated its sex guidance for people who think they may have been exposed to monkeypox, and they recommend socially distanced masturbation to prevent the spread of the virus. The Person with monkeypox or a partner who believes they have contracted the disease should avoid kissing and masturbate together at a distance of 6 feet without touching each other or touching any rash. I don't know if you really have it. Would that be the first thing that you're thinking about? I need to crack a nut. How about you wait until it's over with? Jesus Christ. I mean, honestly, I'm all for getting jiggy with it on a regular basis, but God. This weekend, how much is your charge for us to meet for an hour? I will be in Bangkok with my son and would like to meet up. Send me an email, will you? AmericanInBangkok@gmail.com. If I had to guess, I think you were referring to a fishing pole. I am not down with the lingo or the paraphernalia. No. Not fishing pole, it was fishing line. They would tie the weed to a stick with fishing line. And I do vaguely remember that, but it's been, it's been almost 45 years, 42 years or something, 43 years since I was engaged in that activity. I just find it kind of funny that they're actually coming out with this kind of information. It reminds me of during the COVID, it's like, okay, wear masks and do it doggy style if you're going to have sex. If you're that sick, why don't you just wait until you get over it? And then, really, and I don't mean to be facetious about this. I don't mean to downplay this. But like the monkeypox, that if you get the boils and the blisters on you, why would you want to? I don't know. All right, here's something that's kind of interesting. We can talk about for a few minutes. And that is that Thailand is number 3 in the global electronic payment. This is saying hit parade. It's number 3 in the world in terms of electronic payment transactions. Thailand recorded 9.7 billion real-time electronic payment transactions, putting in 3rd position globally after India and China. Wow. That's crazy. It used to be that Japan was the big leader. But when it comes to the payment aspect of electronics, I've seen a huge increase. And it's like almost, I'd say, 50% of taxis. You get into a taxi, you can simply pay them by scanning a QR code. Or you can type in their bank account number and just transfer them the money right away. And at most of the little shops and shop houses, they always have something where you can pay. So in one way I like that, but I do still like the whole carrying the cash around. But when it comes to transferring internationally, I think all the payment services, I wish they could just do it. They could just have one method. Just like in Thailand, I wish they could use one card. You go into 7-Eleven, you pay with the one card. You go on the MRT, you pay with one card. You're at the boat, you pay with one card. Everywhere you go, you're paying with one card. If they're going to do it that way. And I don't see that ever happening here. This is not Hong Kong. It's not going to happen here. All those electronic transfer payments to Thai women. Well, let's face it, there's a lot of people who have transferred money to Thai women, and it's much easier than it used to be. Let's face it, Nope. I think Western Union, the old way of using Western Union, is out now. They're transferring online if you're going to do that. Right now it's 35.40 to the dollar. That's what I'm showing. And apparently it's going to get better for us and worse for ties. One of the things to consider here and elsewhere is the food shortage. Supposedly that's going to be a big deal in the coming months. And believe me, I'll be stocking up on rice and some other non-perishables in the next month or so. I will be getting some things. And one of the things I'm going to be doing later this week is I'm going to go to the grocery and I'm going to make I'm going to spend, maybe $150, which I do every once in a while. Most of the time I go like, every other day, and I might spend $25, $30. But I'm going to go out and spend, and I'm going to compare some of the prices. And I'll tell you one thing, 400 grams of chicken used to be 86 baht. Now it is 100, I don't know if it's 112 or 100, I think it's 112. It's not 116. 112. So it's went up 36 baht. 26 baht. 26 baht, which is about 30%. The price of chicken. I don't even know about pork. I didn't look, but yesterday I did take a look and I went, man, 400 grams. It used to be for chicken breast. It used to be 86 baht. Now it's 112 baht. Thailand is still a big hard cash place. Home, I never carry cash, use Apple Pay. Well, Apple Pay for some reason has not made it here yet. You can't use Apple Pay here. I don't know why. But it is, you may think it's a big hard cash place. But Dallo, if you are somebody who is living here, or you're set up with a Thai bank account, and like Line, it's very easy to make payments without, all you need is a Thai bank account. You don't even need Line. But it's very easy to make payments. You got a Thai bank account, throw your money in there, carry 1,000 baht on you. Even 500 baht, carry something on you in case you need it. But most of the time, I'm getting to the point now where like I almost never have cash on me either. I carry a little money just in case, so that if I have to do something, and sometimes I don't have any cash on me, and I go, oh well, I'm gonna have to get a taxi that I can use a QR code. But so I just ask them when I get in, you got QR, and you can see they have a little placard in the background where they may have that. So if they have it, then you just go, all right, I'll pay you through that. Okay, no problem. And worst comes to worst, if I don't have any cash on me, I just tell the driver, if I'm going somewhere and it's a little ways away, I go, hey, you got to stop in an ATM first. But that doesn't happen very often anymore. They've really turned it around. And even Starbucks, you can pay with a QR code at Starbucks now. So, I hate to say it, but this is the wave of the future. Subway at Mercuryville will not take cash. Yeah, I've heard, there was a Starbucks, I don't remember where it was, they won't take cash either. It's not all the Starbucks, it was one particular Starbucks, they wouldn't take cash either. So, this is something, and for some people, listen, I don't really have a problem with it, but guess what? If they freeze your bank account for some reason, and they don't want people spending money that's in their bank, the government says, we're going to have to freeze the bank for these days, or the accounts for these days or something, or there's a run on the bank, maybe it's not going to be possible to use your funds. So it does pay to have some cash on hand. A little cash, a little golds, a little money in a safety deposit box or something, little money in Switzerland. There you go. Or another foreign country. It doesn't care about what's going on and has no significance to the rest of the world. Anyway, well, we're at 2 hours and 20 minutes. Hopefully, before we go back, I'll have the Thai bank account. Got most of what I need yesterday at immigration, as well as a 800 baht fine. Why'd you get a fine for 800 baht? You were overstayed? Don't overstay. Well, yeah, that's. I don't know why they would do that. I thought they had done away with that already, but obviously, if you are a tourist and you come and you're not staying in a hotel, there's no hotel that's reporting it for you, which is why a hotel takes your passport. But okay, so you got an 800 baht fine. And now what I would say is if you're going to go to a bank, let me just try to steer you in the right direction. And you can check on this first. Call up the head office of Bangkok Bank and ask them what you need to know, what you need to get. You can usually find it online. I haven't went and looked in quite some time. If you want to get a Bangkok bank account, generally what you do is you go to your embassy, you get some kind of report that shows your address, an affidavit that says this is my address. Take that to the bank sees that, done deal. Well, now they don't have, they're not taking TM6s anymore. There are no TM6s anymore. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff is in the old days it used to be, and I don't even know if this is still the practice because I never overstay, but in the old days it would be if you overstayed, let's say that your day was the first to leave, you went to the airport on the second, they didn't charge you for an overstay. If you went over land, they would charge you. That may still be the case now. But they definitely didn't have anything that said, oh, well, you personally need to make sure that you report where you are staying. I don't understand. And I would say that, sometimes it has to do with the particular immigration office where you go. You might have went to Bangkok. There wouldn't have been any problem at all. They would have just went, But whatever, it's a small amount of money, now you know. And so how much longer are you here? Got to be able to show the whole logo here. You're on a tourist visa, is that correct? And that's why you got nailed for not showing where you are. 4th of August. 24th of... Oh, you're going to be here like another month. I forgot there's something I got to do. This month and next month. I got things that I have to do. I'm trying to remember what they are. But, sometimes I forget. It'll pop into my head at some point. Anyway, we're over 2 hours at this point. We're at 2 hours and 25 minutes, so we got about 5 minutes to wrap it up. And hopefully later this week, I'll be going somewhere. have decided that maybe I'll go somewhere on a train or something for a day or two, or three, or whatever. But I really would like to get something like I need to get a few things as far as equipment goes, and I need to do that. So get yourself a T-shirt. Click the join button. Keep watching. Click like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Go down in the description. Find all the ways that you can help support the channel, which in turn helps me and everybody else involved with me here. But getting back to the original subject matter of this stream, which was Brittney Griner, Brittney Griner. Hopefully, she'll get a fair shake and she will get out. I think that's all we could expect, really. Get her out, get her to court, and make the decision on what to do with her. But don't just hold her there forever because she had, a minimal amount of THC on her. I don't see the point of that, honestly. And I don't think that she is. I don't think enough people in America, honestly, really know who she is to make her a viable political prisoner. I think most people are too involved in their life. We're not talking about, it's not Muhammad Ali when he was alive. It's not the vice president or something like that. She's a basketball player. And I don't mean to downplay her own value. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I mean, when it comes down to it, how you're going to trade her for an arms dealer who I don't see the point of that. Do you have 3XL shirts in color white? Some of them, yes. I mean, like XXL. There are sizes up. It depends on which particular style it is or whatever. If it's like this, or if it's something else, like I don't hate people or whatever. Some of the shirts, depending on the color, if it's white, I don't know, But most of the time, the only reason they wouldn't have them is because that particular shirt is not made that large, or they're out of stock or whatever. The manufacturer's out of stock. And for the most part, I think white is always in stock. So, anyway. Like I was saying, I don't want to downplay, her importance to basketball or as a woman or as a black lady or whatever it might be. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say that when it comes down to it, how I question just how politically valuable she is. Maybe the United States government thinks otherwise. I don't know, but I don't know why. Why would she be so valuable? I hope that they keep Brittney, WNBA gal, longer, make her realize the freedoms in America. Well, there is something to be said for that. And what I'm saying is I don't know what their laws are as far as how long can you hold somebody in jail without putting them on trial. In the United States, I believe they can charge them with an offense. They can choose to not set bail, and that person might be in jail for a year or longer, if I'm not mistaken. So why would it be any different in Russia? Tell me. Because she's a political pawn? She may very well be. I don't really see it personally why she is. She's all that valuable. And, she may be the greatest female basketball player ever, but still, I have never seen her play. I've never seen a freaking game I've seen highlights here and there, snippets, but that's it. So, again, she's playing a game. She's not, a diplomat. Now, you might say she's an ambassador for her sport and for her country, but if she is, then why was she bringing in that weed? Or was it really hers? She's super woke. Even her being super woke does not make me think that they should keep her in jail. You're talking about a minuscule amount of oil. However, whatever their laws are their laws. It's that simple. If they say if you have 1 gram of weed, we're going to put you in jail for 15 years, you knew that going in, The only thing I would say is get her to trial, give her a fair trial, and give her a reasonable sentence. And that does not mean, if they really want to mess with her, they could say you need to go and give speeches to kids for the next 6 months or something. I don't know. In Russia. You'll be here for another 3 months. You're going to be giving daily speeches to kids about how they shouldn't use drugs. If they really want to do anything like that, they probably could. And then it comes down to, is the American government going to try to get her out of Russia? I don't think so. I don't think she's that valuable. And I think they really like the fact that they've got that Russian arms dealer in prison, and they're not going to let him go for her. These are just my opinions, obviously. No worries, Beeson. And, obviously we're all entitled to our opinions. That's a stupid reason. The U.S. is supposed to be about being free to be who you want, being different or even offensive. Freedoms are about accepting the worst of people, not just... I don't understand what you mean. When it comes to her, she broke the law. And we're not in the U.S. If she was in the U.S., I would completely agree. Get her out of jail, let her go. You don't need to be holding people in jail for that. But it's Russia. It's their country. It's not ours. If she came to Thailand and drugs were illegal, if she went to Malaysia and she was carrying weed, and the death penalty is what people get for carrying a certain amount of weed in Malaysia, I'm sorry, but while I don't agree with that, I certainly don't agree, let's put everybody to death because they were carrying over 5 grams of weed. I would understand it. It's their country. The fact that she's woke, really, to me, it has nothing to do with anything. You don't have to like the woke movement, and I am not one of the people who really likes it. I don't, but I don't think that that's a valid reason to keep her in jail or to throw the book at her. Really, there are people that I know that are liberal, that are, you could call some of them a little bit woke. And, I kind of laugh and just, I don't give them much weight in my own life. Maybe that's because I live here and not there. However, I certainly wouldn't want them to be treated differently. Like, well, Scott, you're not woke, so we're going to give you community service. But Longhorns or Beeson, you are extremely woke, so we're going to give you 10 years in prison. Well, that completely goes against the grain of what America is after. And even someone who doesn't live there and who doesn't generally give a flying fungulo about what takes place politically over there, I would say, to anything towards her actions and statement. well, I mean, who should, really? I look at it like this. First of all, she's a lesbian. Does that bother me? No, not at all. Not at all. Um, she's somebody who's been charged with domestic violence. Does that bother me? No. Not, I mean, listen, I would hope that somebody wouldn't do that. But you know what? When it comes down to should she be in jail in Russia and stay there forever or something, or for 10 years because she brought some weed in there, has absolutely nothing to do with it. I mean, you have to address some of these things individually. And I think the fact that she's woke, listen, I don't like the woke movement, and I know that Longhorns doesn't like the woke movement. 2/4, Asian rather. The artist formerly known as Longhorns. I know that he is not a big fan of the woke movement. And I think that even with the woke movement, you have to take things and look at them critically. Each and every situation, each and every issue, you really need to look at them and see, well, what's right, what's wrong, what do they have any merit? Does their argument have any merit? How can we address this? But with regards to, and generally I don't think they have a leg to stand on, but that has no bearing on her case in Russia. When it comes down to her case in Russia, I look at it in segments. If she went in knowingly, and it was her stuff, she brought it in knowingly into Russia, she's guilty under whatever law they have on the books. Period. That brings you to the and if she didn't, the next step is to take it to the court. If they find her guilty, I would say, being that it is her first offense there, they want to maybe show some goodwill towards people in general, I don't know, then you would give her the minimum sentence, or you would release her and fine her or something like that. If she's not guilty and she didn't knowingly bring it in, somebody planted it, well, obviously that's wrong. I mean, you can't have that. You just can't have that, because it's like saying, okay, well, we're going to try her, but there's no way in hell she's going to win the case. I can't stand the things in my country now, but I'm not going to act like them no matter how much ideas and freedoms are being diluted. I stand for the ones that disagree with me as much as you like. Yeah, and I think this is part of the problem that some people are starting to see in the left, is they're starting to see that, and if you look at Biden's approval rating now and how it's gone to shit, and what most people think about the future of the United States, they're not so different. These ideals are not so different. Eventually you take a circle and you'll go around far enough, you get to the other end. You meet each other somewhere at some point. The left and right meet. They come together. They see, oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Now, they may not want to verbalize this, but they get it and they go, all right. It's kind of like you tell somebody the best way to go about doing something and they go, But if you let them come up with that idea, you plant it in their head, and then they come up with that idea on their own, supposedly, then, they're all for it. But if you say it to them, they're not for it. I personally think that it's about power, it's about control, it's about the left and the right not wanting to give up power and control. And thus, they want what they want, and they are stubborn about it, and they are not working together. They may have these dialogues where they act like, my esteemed colleague on the other side, and all that's fluff to keep it somewhat civil. And every once in a while, they get away from being civil. There's nothing more American than burning the flag or kneeling during the anthem, and it hurts my heart to a degree, but we have to let people free to do those things to have our republic survive. Yeah, the burning of the flag to me is a huge offense, and the kneeling. I mean, at some point you just go, "What the fuck are they going to accomplish by that?" There's people that go, "I'm not wearing any BLM on my uniform." You should not punish them for not wearing that BLM any more than you should punish someone who wants to wear it on them. Now, it's a private entity. If the owner of the Dallas Cowboy goes, "If you kneel, I'm going to can your ass. I'm going to let you go and trade you to another team or whatever it is. I don't care. You're not going to play for our team anymore." That's his prerogative. And this is the thing. I mean, like, I don't generally think about these things, and I have to push myself now to really think about them and think, "Oh, well, okay, so what's the deal?" And I try not to, because I don't really, aside from being an American, still being an American, I don't live there. I haven't lived there in almost 30 years. I keep saying this. It's been almost 30 years since I've lived there. 27 and a half, 28. Why do I have to think about it? I don't live there. What does it matter to me now? If it matters to the world, if it matters to my family and my close friends, then okay, it matters. Other than that, it doesn't matter. But speaking from the standpoint of debating both sides or all sides, I mean, I definitely understand what 2/4 is saying. You can't give somebody freedom of speech, but then when they say something you don't like, you say, "Oh, that's offensive, and you're not allowed to say that." That's not freedom of speech. So, anyway, I wish I could be more. My comedic skills were far greater than what they are, as opposed to trying to get serious. Because sometimes getting serious about these issues, I'd rather not. You know, it's very easy just to say, "I want to smash this group or this people. I want to run them over with a car." I mean, like, okay, but that's a short-term solution. I don't like the fact that people go through an area that is deemed to be someone's private property. They come out with a gun to defend themselves because, as older people, they are probably scared, and then they are the ones who were vilified. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. I don't like to see that. But it happens. And, this is the thing. This is say what it is, but it's a reason why a lot of people are leaving. They're like, "I don't want to deal with this shit. I've had enough of this. I don't want to." And God forbid anybody were to come to someone's own family, like their parents or their grandparents, and do something to them and try to do something to them, and the people protect themselves, and then they get to go to jail because they protected themselves. You would think to me, it's there's a lot of confused people now in the world, and especially in the United States and much of the West. I think in some places, and Thailand is one of them, people are just like, yeah, okay, they concern themselves with it, but for the most part, they're like, "All right, let me go to work. Let me get my shit done that I got to do today, and later on, I'm going to go enjoy some of my life." And in America, it seems like more and more people, especially if you want to look at Hollywood, don't tell me to not worry about the gas prices because you work in Hollywood and you think that it's a capitalist system, when you got some asshole or a group of assholes in power, whoever they might be, who are bringing the gas prices up to an unreasonable amount. if you know what I mean. You know, there's no reason why anybody should be paying $10 a gallon for gas, or even $7 or $8 a gallon for gas. Oh, you're just not, you really don't appreciate capitalism. Bullshit, shut the fuck up. That's the way I look at it. And guess what? I'm allowed to think what I want to think. As I've been saying, they may try to control your speech, the government, whatever government it might be, may try to control your speech and control your thinking, but they never will. Because at some point, you're going to be alone, you're going to be able to say something to somebody else, and they're going to be able to say something to somebody else, and that's going to get passed along, and you can certainly think how you want. However, one day they may end up with some chip that they embed in your brain at birth. They embed some little chip and it shuts off any thinking that might be counterproductive to whatever country you're living in. That wouldn't surprise me either, but I think I'll be long gone before that kind of thing happens. And I think most of us will be gone. But you never know. It could happen. So, anyway, that's really all I have. Yeah, that's, interesting. I always like these kind of conversations, whether I agree or disagree. I don't know that there's a whole lot that we can do, but we can try to enlighten others into the way that we think. Hopefully enlighten is the right word, because sometimes you can present your opinion and your case, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter if someone is not going to listen, or they're not going to be swayed, and they're going to think how they want to think. And that's fine too, So, anyway, thank you very much. Yes, please report on the Chill Cafe. In the next couple of weeks, I will report on the Highland Cafe and what's up with that. I will take a trip over there. For the channel, of course, I'll take a trip over there. Got to do that. I just want to see what it's all about. I've never been to like a little dispensary, and I got a friend over in the United States that lives in Reno that goes there once a week. He goes and makes his purchase, and he loves it. And this is a guy that I used to smoke with many, many years ago. He's like, dude, you wouldn't believe it, man. Oh, wow, wow. And I'm just not that excited about it anymore. It doesn't do anything for me anymore, really, But anyway, I think they're on the right track, at least in some ways. And hopefully it will do something good for the economy here. And it'll make a lot of people happy and relaxed. Anyway, I've been saying anyway for a while now. Click the thumbs up, subscribe, look at the description. I'll see you next time. And I don't know when that'll be, but maybe Thursday, maybe Friday, maybe Sunday. So I'll talk to you guys later. Choke D, Lil Jerk and My. That's good luck, and see you later.